So I recently attended LTX 2023, well, almost said 2020 because that was the next year from the last one I was at. Anyway, while I was there, of course, a lot of the brands that I work with are there, and EK Water Blocks was there. And EK was like, hey Jay, I wanna give you a little care package here. And I was like, what is this? He goes, this is a 1 of 2 water block. So of course, we're gonna tear it apart today.
We interrupt this video to bring you a special message from iFixit. No, we interrupt this interruption with this interruption about new stuff from iFixit. Wish you had a new graphics card, but inventory sucks? Fix the inventory problems with iFixit. Whoa, don't drop it. Can't fix that with iFixit. Just kidding, yes you can. Wish you could take iFixit with you anywhere, but your pockets aren't big enough? Introducing the new More
and the new Minnow.
Take them with you anywhere. So get iFixit for your loved ones, or just get them for yourself.
Also, while I was there, I made my own LTT screwdriver. This actually pays homage to the fact that I'm blue colorblind and the green is so I can see it, but the green also represents Phil's green colorblindness. So together we are half an eyeball or something like that. Anyway, this is mine. I told them they're not allowed to touch it. So this right here is another box in a box, but EK told us, hey, we got this really cool water block that, it's kind of a prototype. We want to give it to you. I don't know what's different about this. So EK is known for its Vector 2, Supremacy 2, and all that. And apparently they're working on a third, like a Velocity 3 or whatever. But this particular block right here is specific for, is it upside down? It is upside down, I just dropped everything out of it. There's no writing or anything on it. This is for AM5. I don't know if they have an Intel one. This one is black. They gave there's a gold one which they gave to Linus, which I guess at that point now we can see which one's the golden boy with an EK water block. I just hit myself in the forehead with that. But anyway, this is not a direct dye block, a direct contact block or anything like that. I love this silky, I've never received an EK product box that has a silk liner. You guys might be wondering, where's the backplate? Well, remember, the AM5 backplate is non-removable. So this works very similar to the Velocity, actually exactly how the Velocity went on my particular personal build you guys saw with the 7950X 3D. So they give you these tools. We have a spare hold down. So this is just going through the block. And then, see this? This actually has a Torx head in there, and then we can turn the screw. Now the screw just free turns in there, and as it's turning, obviously with those threads, it pulls it closer into the socket. So this just goes through the motherboard. Fortunately, the backplate, which is on AM5, is hollow, has a hole through it, so that can just fit through there. They give you Thermal Grizzly thermal compound, which to be honest, these tubes, in my opinion, do not hold enough thermal compound. You mess up once and you need more. But then we also have 2 Allen screws here, which I'm assuming these are for the teardown. So first things first, before I tear it down, I want to take it over to the test bed. I want to plug in the RGB header because I'm curious as to what lights up on this. I can't tell where the RGB is in it. I'm assuming it's under one of the black cover here. Let's just see what this looks like lit up. Oh wow, there's actually a lot of light on that.
It's like,
there's more light than I thought. Because I was concerned, like if it was gonna be on one side, it's gonna be uneven, but yeah. It looks like the lighting goes all the way around the perimeter. When we take it apart, we'll see, but that's pretty cool looking. It would have been neat if this was maybe frosted, it would have been more diffused. But from the top down, how you see it. But if anything, this block is very happy to be here. Yay! So now that we've taken a look at ARGB, which is like the most important part, obviously, of any water block, it's the only feature that I can't even say with a straight face anymore. No, I think RGB is an important thing to have. I'm curious as to how different is this from is this just a Velocity 2 with a different top on it? Anyway, I don't have a Velocity 2. I don't think I have a Velocity 2 for AM5. The only one I had is the one that is on my rig, so I can't exactly compare. But let's see how it comes apart. So I have to peel off the sticker because you could tell this is like a one of one kind of a deal because it's got scratches from being mounted up already, it looks like. At least if it hasn't been mounted, then it's just rough machining. Anyway, we should have all the tools we need to take this apart, but I'm gonna use the colorblind screwdriver. I like how I was like, it's a cool screwdriver, but I probably wouldn't get it.
Well, when you get offered to build your own, I guess it's different.
Which way is that facing? That faces AM5 logo faces away from the fittings. Yes, this all seems pretty consistent with all the other blocks. Like this realistically does look like it's just a Velocity with just a different top, which is, I guess, okay. As long as they're not like, hey, we changed the aesthetics, it's also changed the price, you know? Unless the price goes down, which, let's face it, water cooling's at one of its most expensive times, which as a water cooling enthusiast makes me upset because I want everyone to water cool their PC, but when the water cooling stuff costs as much as another PC, it's kind of hard to get people to believe in it. Well, it really just wants to pop off. I don't know if you, I don't mean pop off in like the, yo, why are you popping off kind of a, I mean, just physically popping off. This is important because they give you an extra piece that would go there, right? So it's important to know how to take it apart because as you can see, let's say there's O-ring right there, so I'll make sure I don't mess that up. This is steel. This feels like steel. Any of you metallurgy out there, experts or whatever, your chemists, is stainless steel an issue with copper? Because we know aluminum accelerates galvanic corrosion. I don't know anything about steel. This is the first steel piece I think I've seen, personally. This is not like plated copper, I don't think. This just looks like raw steel. Feels like raw steel. Sounds like raw steel. Don't ask me how I know what steel sounds like. Probably because I watch Forged in Fire all the time and it just sounds an awful lot like the, oh, we gotta make ourselves a hammer.
The world's smallest hammer for the...
Anyway, there's that. These all just lift out of there. And then the acrylic top. And yeah, oh wow, check that out. I thought for sure that this was gonna have more of like a full coverage. Now it just looks like teeth. Oh, I killed him.
No.
No, he's like, nom, it just looks like teeth now. But you know, I can understand why water blocks cost so much now. I mean, look how many pieces there are to this. Back in the day, it was just 2 pieces, the cold plate, and then the top just bolted together with the jet thing in between it. I didn't even realize. I did not pay attention to which way that came out because if you look, there's a wider part and a thinner part. I think we're gonna have to look at the footage to see, because it can go either way. At the end of the day though, this really does feel like this part is a Velocity 2. And then the Velocity 2 plate, I know on our other blocks have been plated copper, or nickel plated copper, or just bare copper or whatever. So I'm really curious. Maybe this is them testing steel. I'd have to assume steel might be cheaper than copper. I think. I don't know much about how the raw materials costs are. And then the top, as you can see, the O-rings are right here for the fittings. So this piece, as it's sitting on there, just squishes against the O-rings. And then this is just one big extruded, not extruded, but subtracted acrylic. Okay, then on the reassembly phase, if we have the RGB cable away from me, the fat end with the notch, so the fat end's towards the RGB cable and then the little notch is facing away from the ports. And then this, like I said, the AM5 goes away from the ports, so it would be like that. That probably didn't mean anything to anyone looking at that going, I have no idea what he just did, but I know. And that's what matters, is now that I know. G.I. Joe! Something like that.
Pork chop sandwiches.
Oh no, we're all dead. All right, so I wasn't just planning on doing a teardown. I want to show you how it installs. Yes, it's an Asus motherboard. It's the only one I have that's AM5 right now that's not currently in use, so not sponsored, but go ahead and make your comments. To install it, you've got to take off the 4 screws here that are holding the little retention clips down. This is for the really terrible AM5, AM4, AM3, AM2 mounting mechanism, which is where things just hooked onto those. Those are the worst. They don't give you good force. I cannot believe AMD has not officially ditched this. Just about every reputable brand has switched to using 4 bolts or 4 screws on the retention bracket. Now typically that's where the back would fall off, but you can see those 4 screws right there are connecting it to the socket. And this is what I meant when I said that the screw was hollow, so that's why we can actually get that in there to tighten it down. So theoretically, we can pretend we had a CPU in here. I don't know why I'm undoing that latch. There's some bent pins on there apparently, which doesn't really matter because we're not gonna be using this board for anything. I might use my microscope to fix them, but I don't know how those got bent. Don't ask me. Anyway, this only goes one way, technically. I guess you could flip it upside down, but then your logo and everything would be upside down. That would trigger most people. So this goes with the RGB cable coming out the bottom. And then these 4 posts just thread right through those holes like that. So now what you would do is you would literally just use this to lefty-tighty, which is backwards because obviously we're on the back side of the screw. So as you turn this, those threads will just thread into the socket threads. You just go, once they're all started and fairly firm, you just go until the screw bottoms out because the screw threads will stop and then the spring tension is what will keep it tight. And because the thread depth is exactly the same on all 4 corners, the pressure across the CPU will be the same. So it's not like Threadripper where if you didn't do it in a very certain order, bad things would happen and RAM channels wouldn't come online, et cetera, et cetera. But anyway, my fingerprints and everything everywhere. It's not fully tight because that one was too tight, so I couldn't get that one started. I guess it's a perfect example. You can kind of see it's crooked. It's like that. I guess I can't live with myself even though there's no CPU in there. Yay! I can't unsee the smiley face. Anyway, aesthetically, it doesn't, oh, my fingerprints everywhere. Aesthetically, it doesn't really match the board great, only because the board has all these squared angles. But the texture matches kind of like the VRM heatsinks and the M.2 heatsink here. You could obviously just run this RGB kind of up under here. It's a nice black cable, so you're not gonna really see it. It looks like Slimer to me. Like if you put a picture of Slimer, like old Ghostbusters Slimer up, you'll see the resemblance. It's so happy. Anyway, that's what it would look like in your system. It's heavy as hell, just like the Velocity. I hope there's more to this though than just being a different top on the Velocity, because each generation from EK typically has something new and exciting that brings better cooling with it. But there's only so far you can really go. So I guess the question is, how well does it work? Well, I might do a follow-up where I actually put fluid to this and test a couple of different CPU blocks to see how they perform. I just need to get that test rig sort of set up because I do not have a platform right now for AM5 other than our test bench, which I can't take apart because it's doing test bench stuff. So, all right guys, thanks for watching. I just wanted to show you this, what could be coming from EK. They told me they may or may not make this block. Because it's literally only 2 of them in the world, I wanted to take a look at it. If you guys want this block to make it to market, if you love the aesthetics or whatever, this is where you need to sign off in the comments and let them hear you, because I guarantee you EK will be looking at this, because especially if I wasn't supposed to talk about it, because they didn't say I couldn't, so whoops if I wasn't supposed to. Sorry. Thanks guys, we'll see you in the next one.